Rook here, bringing you all the details about our new healing job, Sage, coming in Final Fantasy XIV's next expansion, Endwalker. A big thanks to Square Enix for letting me demo gameplay during the 2021 Media Tour this year. And a reminder, everything seen here is not final and may be subject to change. This is especially true for jobs, which are also currently affected by the downscaling of the game's numerical values, so don't panic. It's hard to get a real sense of how these all come together without playing them in-game within the context of our new content and scaling. Sage is an exciting new shield healer with a myriad of interesting details worked into its abilities. If you enjoy proactively shielding allies, damaging while healing, and even damaging to heal, or learning all the nuances of a complex class, there's plenty in this job to take notes on. You don't need to study as hard as a Charlian student to learn the ways of the Sage, but there's definitely a few things to know before you hop in. So, since Sage is a brand new class, let's take a look at its job gauge before the tooltips. The Adder's Gall gauge indicates accumulated stacks of Adder's Gall, the blue gems on the top, which are restored automatically over time, as measured by the blue gauge that fills within the middle part. Adder's Gall can be consumed to execute actions such as Druacole and Caracole acquired at level 50. The purple diamonds on the bottom are stacks of Adder Sting, which are added when the barrier effect of Eucrasian Diagnosis is completely absorbed. Adder Sting stacks can be used to execute actions such as Toxicon and Toxicon 2. Periodically, the icon for Eucrasia will light up. When active, it can be used to enhance the effects of Dosis, Diagnosis, and Prognosis. Let's get down to the details. If you'd like a more general summary of Sage's playstyle, skip ahead. Dosis deals unaspected damage with a potency of 240. It has the additional effect of restoring HP to targets under the effect of Cardion granted by you. Its cure potency is 170. This is where that good damaging to do healing comes in. Diagnosis restores a target's HP with a cure potency of 450. Cardia grants self the effect of Cardia, and a selected party member or self the effect of Cardion, which restores HP after casting certain magic attacks. Dosis is one such attack. Prognosis restores own HP and the HP of all nearby party members with a cure potency for 300. Aguirre resurrects the target to a weakened state. Physis is a heal over time, gradually restoring own HP and the HP of all nearby party members, with a cure potency of 100 and a duration of 21 seconds. Phlegma is your basic AoE attack, dealing unaspected damage to target and all enemies nearby it with a potency of 360 for the first enemy and 30% less for all remaining enemies. Its additional effect is that it also restores HP to targets under the effect of Cardion that you granted them. Its cure potency is 170, and its maximum charges are 2. Eucrasia augments certain offensive and healing magic actions, upgrading Dosis 3 to Eucrasian Dosis 3, Diagnosis to Eucrasian Diagnosis, and Prognosis to Eucrasian Prognosis. Soteria doubles the cure potency of Cardion effects granted by you, so any of that damage to healing you're doing, doubled. Its duration is 10 seconds. Icarus allows you to rush to a targeted enemy's or party member's location. You are unable to cast it if you are already bound. Its range is 25 yalms. Druacole restores target's HP with a cure potency of 600. As an additional effect, it also restores 5% of maximum MP, but it does consume 1 stack of Adder's Gall. Dyscrasia deals unaspected damage with a potency of 160 to all nearby enemies, with the additional effect of restoring HP to targets under the effect of Cardion granted by you. Its cure potency is 170. Caracole is a defensive ability, reducing damage taken by self and nearby party members by 10% with a duration of 15 seconds. This effect cannot be stacked with the other ability, Taracole, but it does have the additional effect of applying regen with a cure potency of 100 and a duration of 15 seconds. Its secondary additional effect is that it will restore 5% of maximum MP. This will, however, consume 1 Adder's Gall stack. Ixicole restores own HP and the HP of all nearby party members with a cure potency of 400 and an additional effect of restoring 5% of maximum MP, again consuming 1 Adder's Gall stack. Zoe doubles the amount cured by your next healing spell and has a duration of 30 seconds. Pepsis restores own HP and the HP of nearby party members by removing Eucrasian Diagnosis and Eucrasian Prognosis effects granted by you. If they have Eucrasian Diagnosis on them, the cure potency will be 450. If they have Eucrasian prognosis, the effect will be 350. Targets not under the effect of Eucrasian diagnosis or Eucrasian prognosis will not be healed. Physis is another heal over time that gradually restores own HP and the HP of all nearby party members, with a cure potency of 200 and an additional effect increasing HP recovered by healing magic by 10%. Its duration is 15 seconds. Tar Recall restores target's HP, a cure potency of 600. Its additional effect is that it reduces target's damage taken by 10% for a duration of 15 seconds. This effect cannot be stacked with Caracol. Its secondary additional effect restores 5% of maximum MP, and it costs 1 Adderskull stack. Toxicon deals unaspected damage to target and all enemies nearby it with a potency of 320 for the first enemy and 50% less for all remaining enemies. Its additional effect restores HP to targets under the effect of Cardion granted by you, with a cure potency of 170. This ability has an Addersting cost of 1. Haima creates a barrier around self or target party member that absorbs damage equivalent to a heal of 150 potency. Its additional effect is that it grants 5 stacks of something known as High Maintenance. High Maintenance lasts 30 seconds. When the barrier is completely absorbed, a stack of High Maintenance is consumed, and a new barrier is applied. When the effect duration expires, a healing effect is then applied, with a cure potency of 150 per remaining stack of High Maintenance effect that cannot be stacked with that of Penheima. Dosis 2 deals unaspected damage with a potency of 320, with an additional effect that restores HP to targets under effective Cardion granted by you. Its cure potency is 170. Phlegma 2 is the upgrade of Phlegma, and deals unaspected damage to target and all enemies nearby it with a potency of 490 for the first enemy and 50% less for all remaining enemies. Its additional effect is that it also restores HP to targets under the effect of Cardion granted by you. Its cure potency for that is 170, and it has a maximum charge of 2. Rhizomata will automatically grant 1 stack of Adderskull, which are used to cast certain abilities. Holos restores your own HP and the HP of all nearby party members with a cure potency of 300. Penheima is the AoE version of Haima, which erects a magicked barrier around self and all party members near you that absorbs damage equivalent to a heal of 150 potency. Its additional effect is that it grants 5 stacks of these shields, otherwise known as Penheimatinon. Just like Haima, its duration is 30 seconds. When the barrier is completely absorbed, a stack of Penheimatinon is consumed, and a new barrier is applied. When the effect duration expires, a healing effect is then applied. Its cure potency for this is 150 per remaining stack of Penheimatinon. This effect cannot stack with that of Haima. Dosis 3 deals unaspected damage with a potency of 330. Its additional effect is that it restores HP to targets under the effect of Cardion granted to you, and its cure potency is 170, following the same basic formula as its previous versions. Phlegma 3 is similar in that it deals unaspected damage to target and all enemies nearby it with a potency of 510 for the first enemy and 50% less for all remaining enemies. Its additional effect is that it also restores HP to targets under the effect of Cardion granted by you, a cure potency of 170 with 2 maximum charges. Disgratia 2 deals unaspected damage with a potency of 170 to all nearby enemies, and its additional effect is that it also interplays off of Cardion and restores HP to targets marked by it. Its cure potency is 170. Toxicon 2 deals unaspected damage to target and all enemies nearby it with a potency of 330 for the first enemy and 50% less for all remaining enemies. Its additional effect is that it too restores HP to targets under the effect of Cardion granted by you, and has a cure potency of 170, but an Addersting cost of 1. It's also really popular at raves. Krasis is a single target buff that increases HP recovery via healing actions for a party member or self by 20%, and it lasts 10 seconds. Pneuma is the big old laser that deals unaspected damage to all enemies in a straight line before you, with a potency of 330 for the first and 50% less for all remaining enemies. Its additional effect is that it restores own HP and the HP of all nearby party members, and reduces damage taken by 10%, with a cure potency of 400, a duration of 20 seconds, and also the additional effect that restores HP to targets under the effect of Cardion granted by you, for a cure potency of 170. If you remember back to the level 30 ability Eucrasia, using that ability would upgrade certain other abilities in your kit. The first of these is the upgrade to Diagnosis, Eucrasian Diagnosis, which restores target's HP with a cure potency of 300. However, it also erects a magic barrier which nullifies damage equaling 180% of the amount of HP restored. When critical HP is restored, it also grants Differential Diagnosis, nullifying damage equaling 180% the amount of HP restored, with a duration of 30 seconds. This effect cannot be stacked with Eucrasian Prognosis or Scholar's Galvanize. The upgrade to Prognosis is Eucrasian Prognosis, which restores own HP and the HP of all nearby party members with a cure potency of 100. Its additional effect with Eucrasian is that it erects a magic barrier which nullifies damage equaling 320% of the amount of HP restored for a duration of 30 seconds. Again, this effect cannot be stacked with those of Eucrasian Diagnosis or Scholar's Galvanize. But Eucrasian Diagnosis and Eucrasian Prognosis can be used with the level 58 ability Pepsis, which removes either of those barriers and does a proportional heal. Eucrasian Dosis is the upgrade to Dosis, dealing unaspected damage over time with a potency of 30 and a duration of 30 seconds. Its additional effect is that it restores HP to targets under the effect of Cardion granted by you for a cure potency of 170. The Eucrasia activated Eucrasian Dosis 2 deals unaspected damage over time as well with a potency of 60 and a duration of 30 seconds, with an additional effect still restoring HP to targets that have Cardion and a cure potency of 170. Lastly, the Eucrasia activated Eucrasian Dosis 3. This ability deals unaspected damage over time as well with a potency of 70 and a duration of 30 seconds, restoring HP to targets under the effect of Cardion for a cure potency of 170. Overall, how's Sage looking then? So having the numbers is great and all, but I'm sure many of you are wondering, what does that all mean? Don't worry, this one took me a second to get a sort of overall feel for as well. Sage has more AoE heals and heal over time than expected, including quite a few skills that damage enemies while also healing an ally. The ability that makes this possible is Cardia. If you place the effect Cardion on yourself or an ally, a ton of single target and AoE attacks in your kit will heal the marked person. This doesn't scale based off of how much damage you do, rather it's a set amount of healing per each attack you use while it's active. Haima is a unique and powerful single target shield ability that essentially stacks one shield and then 4 other inactive shields on a target. When one shield is consumed, it activates the next one. When the 30-second timer runs out, the player is healed 150 HP per remaining shield. Panhaima is also an AoE version of this ability, making this pretty strong. Eucrasian Diagnosis is the same ability as Scholar's Eloquium, which feels a little weird to me. With the retooling to a pure shield healer versus pure healer kind of categories, I guess it makes sense that they want to establish certain new things that are the baseline for either type of healer. But it does feel a little strange when I really think that Scholar maybe got the short end of the stick this expansion. Sage's massive laser attack Numa damages enemies, heals self and allies near it, and also restores additional HP to any allies that have Cardion active. For a shield healer, Sage's multitasking ability and array of interesting skills seem wildly powerful, all of which are ridiculously fun to use, but will undoubtedly leave Scholars feeling a little unsure about when their own class will be given some love. While playing the Media Tour, I found Sage a little difficult to get into a flow with at first, but after looking through all the tooltips and digging deeper into the class, I think this is definitely a shield healer that I'm going to enjoy playing, and I hope you all do too. But Sage wasn't the only job I was able to play. Find my other 9 job summaries here on YouTube, including the Summoner rework and our other new class, Reaper. If you're interested in lore, give my old Charlie and Garlemald and Thavnair tour videos a watch to get a sneak peek into the meanings behind our new maps. And of course, where would we be without content and glamour? New dungeon info and artifact gear previews are also on that list. Stand tall, my friends, and remember to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the content. Try out Sage for yourself in Final Fantasy XIV's upcoming expansion, Endwalker, releasing November 23rd, 2021, with early access starting November 19th.